Greetings and welcome, everyone. It's All You Can Geek Gamecast, episode 690. I'm one of your hosts, Jim Guest, joined by Mike Sneedy,
What's up?
Corey Feinsod,
Ahoy!
and Tony Korkanakis.
Hello.
Welcome, guys. Welcome, listeners and viewers. We are live on Twitch Tuesday nights. Please join us for these broadcasts. If you cannot, we are over on YouTube. So if you're watching this on YouTube, hit that, smash that subscribe, the like button, leave us a comment over there. We'd love to hear from you. And especially with tonight, we have a great topic. We're going to be talking about worst video game endings. It's going to be interesting. I've got a nice list, I think. Can't wait to get into that. But first, I would like to talk about what we've been up to because I heard Corey was playing a bunch. Corey?
Playing a bunch of Final Fantasy VII still. I'm on a boat now, but
I'm on a boat.
but it's like I felt like the last chapter I was in took a long time. I don't know why. Because I think the first time I talked about it, I was just steamrolling through chapters and then that chapter just took forever. But
Yeah.
I think when I was playing for maybe 6 hours or so, and I got there, and then I looked at my time, and I'm at 13, and I'm like, what? Like, I doubled, more than doubled my time, and I'm only like a couple chapters away now. So, but yeah, it's been a lot of fun though, still. So
That's
it's
awesome.
a great game.
Yeah.
I also just want to throw out there, I played this game called Barato. It's like a
I heard
deck
about
building
it, but
game
are
based on poker, and like I played it because like so many people were talking about it, and I just don't know what the appeal is. It's like I'm like
Quattro?
it's video poker, but it's just like
It's like a
well,
roguelike though. Like you're
it's a
supposed to like
roguelike
manipulate your
deck
deck.
building. Like yeah, you're trying to have a good run of playing poker, but it's just no, I don't know. People really like it. I haven't seen the appeal for it.
Yeah.
You probably
I
don't
don't
like
know.
it because you like real poker. And
I
I
think
feel like
that's the problem.
most
Hmm.
people who like it don't.
Yeah, I mean that definitely tracks.
All right. I finished Infinite Wealth. I mentioned over the movie cast. So
Like a
just
dragon.
like a dragon, Infinite Wealth, just under believe it, Mike, under 50 hours. Um,
Hell yeah.
Wow. What level were your people when you finished?
52, 51, 52.
It's not too bad actually. How did
So
so did you
I
have an easy time at the end or not?
what's that?
You have an easy time at the end or not?
Yeah. I was fine. I had great gear. I did all the dungeons. That took me the longest to go through all the dungeons and clear them out.
Yeah, that takes
But
time.
that's how I level my characters up because I did skip a lot of the side stuff. And I will say, like the curious stuff, like I'm not going to give any spoilers here for the. Don't worry. But the curious stuff, like it's not nostalgic for me. So like some of the stuff that he has for the nostalgic parts of it, I just kind of advance the story very quickly because I'm like, I know what this is. This falls under two categories for Yakuza games. One, the character needed help, and Kiryu, helped them out in a bad situation. Or two, they were the bad guys in that situation, and Kiryu convinced them to turn to his to be good. Essentially, that's it. So I know the story and the gist of it, and so I watched. It was cool to get them as my like summons. And this game has pound
Did
mates they
you
call them, but they become
did
as
you go
summons.
th did you go through all of the awakening things?
Yeah,
Or
I didn't have anything on the map, but I only got 18 of 20, I think it had said. So I don't know where the other ones were. But
one only unlocks when your awakening level's 9 or higher.
oh,
The
okay.
very last one of the awakening does that.
Yeah. So I mean, it was pretty full. I really enjoyed this game quite a bit, but I do understand people's we're talking about endings in this episode, worst video
Yeah,
game endings. I don't think that's
I hear
this
about
bad for me. For me, I'm fine with this ending actually because I'm not attached to the Kiryu side. This is not his game. This was never his game. This is Kasuga's game.
well,
And
sort of. By the second half, it's half his game.
I know that, but I'm just saying like Infinite Wealth, like a dragon is, you know, Kasuga. It's his game. And they brought in their most popular character obviously for this game, and I understand that, but I'm not attached to him. I didn't play the older games, so it's not as impactful for me to get a story from him that I guess everybody was waiting for. Now I will say it didn't make sense for me, and I understand that part of it, Mike. But you know, it is what it is. It was a good game though. It is very solid, very good game. I like I said, but ending I could see the issues, but that's it for me. Mike, anything else for you?
Me, I I never watch anything, but so in building hype for X-Men '97, I've been playing basically my GameCube library of X-Men games. I played X2 Wolverine's Revenge. I mentioned that last week. Beat that. Played X-Men Next Dimension, that fighting game, and just play through the story. And now, even though I did go through all of these games relatively recently, I realized recently had to have been at least 6 or 7 years ago at this point because of where I was and the CRT TVs I was using. So I am back to playing X-Men
Oh, there it is.
Legends
Yes.
on the GameCube, and God, it's X-Men Legends 1 and 2 bundle remaster. Make money. Let's do that. Come on, someone.
Holds up pretty well.
It
Yep.
holds up great. Other than graphically, maybe.
Mhm.
Everything else is just it also just makes me disappointed in Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 again. But real fun, getting sucked into it again. Gonna spend some time probably going through the whole like Ravensoft like X-Men Marvel thing again. So yeah, it's fun.
Okay. Cool. Tony?
Just still playing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I'm doing some stuff I didn't finish the first time around because I was just like ready to move the story forward, and then I can work on a lot of the extra side content because it's like optional.
You said that last week. You were just like, you got to see what's going on with it.
Yeah, because like I was starting
spoilers.
Right? Because like I don't know, it feels like you get like a week out of social media people before like they just start dropping things and whatnot. And I'm glad I did because I definitely saw a lot of stuff where I'm like, why are you just like brazenly being like, yeah, blah blah blah? And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, you're not like some no name like nobody on Twitter. You're like, you got like 10,000 plus followers. Like, what are you fucking doing here? It's crazy. People are just insane these days.
Well, 'cause they get done with it in a weekend and then they like talk about it. That's the thing.
Yeah. So I mean, I did have that. I wanted to get through Infinite Wealth like fast. I mean, I did pretty quick, but like I do feel like there's a lot of extra content I didn't even dabble in whatsoever. So maybe I'll go back into that a little bit. Who knows? So, all right, we have an awesome topic for you guys tonight. We have, like I said, the worst video game endings that we have experienced. And now for me, I did stipulation. This endings of a game, like there's endings, and then there's like the ending like build up, right? So, I'll kick it off on a controversial edition here, MGS5, Metal Gear Solid 5.
I knew you guys like. I was like, this has to be on there for one of the three of you, and if not all of the three.
Yeah, didn't we all play? We all played this game, right? We all played this.
I did not play it. The three of you did.
Us three of us did.
Really?
I thought you played that. Okay.
No, you guys.
We were all. I mean, you go back to these. We go back to these older episodes, and we were all raving about how good this game was, and then it just.
This was for all of us while we were like, I don't know, like chapter like 8 or something, like before we got to the ending. We were like, oh, this is like maybe one of the best games of all time.
Game of the year contender.
I believe we did say that. I think we did. We did say that on the episode. Yeah. What a bad. The cliff. It just fell off a cliff.
There was.
We talked about the Kojima thing with the whole separating him from his team and all that stuff, and like the excuses for the ending and all that. So I remember that, all those conversations.
Yeah.
It was very confusing because I guess like
there was no ending. It just didn't seem like it was
story ending. It seems like there was like some like cutscene or two like at the end, but you had to replay missions with new modifiers to get there or something. Like they ran out of content to get you to get where.
Yeah, Act 3.
Act 3 didn't exist. It was just redo Acts 1 and 2 missions with, like you said, like some weird modifiers or a couple new enemies. But yeah, I mean, it was just clear. Like, the thing is, like, I've changed my stance on that because, Konami, clearly we know what their priorities these days, and Kojima's just burning money, right? Burning money developing this fucking game. And at some point they're like, yo, you gotta ship this. Like, you can't keep fucking spending years developing this game and just burning money. Like, it's good enough. Ship it.
Yeah.
But it's just a shame because, like, if he had, I don't know, reprioritized some things.
Yeah, not taking as long. Yeah.
Like, a third act could have made this game, like, 10 out of 10, like, all-time great. Instead of just like, oh, well, I had fun.
It could have been. It could have been his greatest. Could have been his greatest swan song for that company. Like, you know what I mean? But it ended up being a pretty good game still with a terrible ending. So
To be fair, though, just the way the plot was going and how some of his stuff goes, I don't think narratively it would have been a great ending anyway.
yeah, I
Probably
got you.
stupid,
I got you. But
but
all right,
it still would have been more of a complete game.
all right. Corey, give me one here.
I'm gonna do an easy, low-hanging fruit one that's on the same vein as Mike's Spider-Verse issue, and that's Halo 2. I mean,
Oh yeah, made my
just
list.
when
Made my list.
just when you're ready to finish the fight, nope.
That was the tagline. That was the fucking tagline of the game. Finish the fight. Finish the
I
He
fight.
know.
says it in game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sir.
And then you're like, oh yeah, I'm pumped. Let's go.
Yeah.
We're not
That
going
was the
anywhere,
tagline
folks.
for that game. I
Yeah.
thought
That was
that's not Halo's 3's tagline.
no. This was the tagline
Wow.
of that game, and just to have him jump out of that ship, and we were psyched. I remember this entire sequence
Dude, I remember
vividly.
like
Vividly, I remember.
staying up. I mean, this was like one of those midnight opening
Yep.
games.
We went to the
like,
midnight launch. Yep. I ran. I was at the store then.
Yeah, I
was still
know,
at the
I know.
store.
Like,
Yeah.
I was there with you. I was
Yep.
like, this is like crazy people lining outside the mall to get in. Like,
Yep.
like this is one of the biggest media events. I remember like one of like the most money making events at the time. Like when
Yeah.
that happened, Halo 2, and like the campaign is so short,
This is
and
also
then you just like ends.
this game
the way
also
it
has
ends.
this game has a very, personal point for me because this also is the reason I quit working at EB Games. This is the game. So yeah, I got written up for not having enough pre-orders of this game. We had 900 in that little store, and it wasn't enough, so I quit. I couldn't take it. I was like, this is bullshit. I had to get out of there. But this is the game, and so it always reminds me. Like, not only was it like a terrible ending, but it was also it was the ending of my my retail career, which is good. It worked out fine for me. But I remember it vividly from that reason. So this game, such a great game that just felt
Was it
half
though?
a game.
I
It was
wouldn't even
half a
agree
game.
It was a great game.
I liked it. I liked the first half. It was ready
Yeah,
to
I
go.
think-
It was.
I think the
was a half
multiplayer
a
was
game.
fine, but I still like
I thought
they
the
made
game-
mistakes because they walked stuff back in 3 with what they
Oh
did
no,
with
I know,
2.
They
absolutely.
did,
Like
they did.
everything.
I liked it.
I think Halo 2 is a completely inferior product to Halo 1.
I mean, I guess I can argue that. I guess, but so all
I mean,
right, cool.
being able to play online was for the
Yeah,
first time
that was cool.
Was
Yeah,
cool.
I can see
Like,
that.
but like as far as the campaign goes,
But yeah,
man,
talking
that
about, it
hurts.
was just stupid because like the whole thing is like you're like at least as far as I remember, the marketing was whole like, oh, Chief's got to defend Earth or whatever like that,
Mm-hmm.
right? And like the
You
whole
spend
time
the entire game getting there.
and you're like, okay, can't wait to defend my home, like my home
Yep.
planet, and it's just like, okay, and
Yeah.
what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah. Tony, give me one here.
This is low, super low hanging, like,
Oh no.
or super mild, right? I'm sorry, mild, but I'm gonna go with Super Mario Brothers 2.
Oh, interesting.
Just because as a kid, like I played this as a kid, and even then I was like, wait, what do you mean? It's all the dream? And I was just like, that's stupid. I was like, even as a kid, I was like, that's stupid. Why did I just waste my like? And it's not like Mario games you play for the story, but right? But like coming from Mario 1, you're like, okay, Mario 2, and it's like
I was excited for 2. Yeah.
the graphics are a little bit better. You have all the the new characters, the new villain, stuff like that. You're like, okay, cool. Like this is fun. Like you're in a new setting and stuff like that. And in the end, it's like, oh, Mario's just dreaming everybody. Like none of that's real. It's like, what? Why?
Yeah.
Like you couldn't come up with anything else at all. And like that's why since then, anything that involves like, oh, it was all a dream. I'm just like, nah, no shit. Like,
No,
get the fuck out of here.
Terrible way to fix things. All right, Mike.
I'm gonna actually mention what we just mentioned. I am going to put Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth on this list.
There it is.
Sending.
Secure
have to
you,
be
fan.
vague.
You should be vague. Try to be vague, please. Yeah.
I'm gonna be vague. Like I'm a fan of the series for the last 4 years, obviously. And, the game is sort of built. There's dual protagonists, and one of them, has been the protagonist basically the whole time. And
I get that point. Like I do, but like, and I'll feel that same way. I'm sure when they finally move on from Kasuga at some point.
it's not just his ending either that
I
is
know.
bad.
I know.
Kasuga sort of gets flanderized
Yeah.
in his ending. Like I don't to the point where I don't see how he is someone who ever wants to fight anyone. um,
Yeah.
ever. Like, Jesus. Um, and uh, and also the logistics of his ending make absolutely no sense whatsoever.
They had a cool idea, and I feel like the final act they just didn't know how to tie it, and that was, I think it should have ended all in one spot, but whatever. I'm trying to give you as vague as possible. Go on.
And but so it's sort of almost framed as like a memorial for Kiryu, like this whole
It
thing.
is, yeah.
But at the same time, this whole awakenings thing is just like, oh, maybe he has a reason to live, you know, or maybe he will. And the ending is everything. First of all, the ending is you have a final boss who monologues for like 20 minutes straight
It's
with no
I got
real new information revealed. He says
no,
shit you already know. He talks for 20 fucking minutes and says
it's long.
nothing.
The
And they
controller, the
spend
screen went dark multiple times during that
oh,
monologue. Yeah.
definitely. And so they spend all the time doing that. Then it happens, and then everything you want to know about is glossed over, happens off screen,
Yeah.
or is left unclear.
They sat
And
in
I'm
a
like, what
room.
the
Yeah.
fuck?
Sorry. I can't keep talking about it. I don't want to give up anything, but
And
yes, I get it. I
and
get it.
like I said, the post credit makes it a little better, but not really. You don't know what that situation is, and you missed a lot of what you wanted to see. So
Yeah.
it's not the worst ending ever, but it
Well, let it
narratively
stew, Mike. Let it
feels
stew. It's
a
only
lot
been a
better.
week.
Yeah,
Come
it's
on.
it's fresh too.
Yeah, I think it's way too
I've been
fresh to list on this.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna
I
go.
don't know, man.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna follow up MGS5 with Final Fantasy 15. Same idea.
15,
Same
eh?
idea.
15.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, 15 is the Brofest, where it fell apart
Yeah,
in the maze.
No.
Like that ending, like the whole game fell apart. It just fell apart after the maze. It's all I remember is going through like a maze corridor with a King's Crown throne thing, and I'm like, and everything just fell apart with what was happening, the way the game played,
That's fair.
the way the story went. It's like they just said, okay, ship it. Like you said, Tony, like with my MGS5, it's like, okay, ship it. And I understand, like money wise, you have to ship things, but the game wasn't finished. Like they had this great story. I was having fun. Like I said, going around, driving the cars and the
I'm
boys.
confused. What didn't you like about the story, though?
I'm
The ending.
trying to remember back to it. Like I just remember like absolutely hating the entire. Well, it's just the last part of the game. Like that's what I'm saying. Like Metal Gear Solid was the same idea. Like the Metal Gear's never had a coherent ending, right?
No,
In the game. So,
yeah,
but the
sort
gameplay
of.
itself was a bad game at the end. It was a bad ending for the game. That's what I'm saying. Like I think Final Fantasy 15 had a bad ending. Yeah.
I mean,
There was three different endings.
I disagree with you on that. Like, I'm not like, yeah, the game was unfinished. The back half of the
back half, I
time
get.
jump or whatever is
Yeah.
underbaked or undercooked, whatever you want to call
That's
it.
what it
But,
was.
like,
Yeah.
it had an ending.
It did. You're right. And maybe the ending itself is
I
not
mean,
terrible.
James did not like the ending too.
No, that's
I
fine.
have
But
to go
like,
back to it, but
like
I
it sounds
I
like you're
res-
complaining more about like the back portion of the game, which
Yeah, I'm more
it
complaining
is,
about the
to
game.
me that's
You're
separate
right.
from like, oh, the ending here is bad.
Mm-hmm.
You're right.
That's
You're
the
right.
thing
But the
about
feeling, I
it's
think, is
little-
what you're going with, Jim.
You're right. I can't. But I feel like it just destroyed the game for me. The way that game ended like that. Not the ending story. Not the story. You're right. It's not the story. It's the way that. It's just the way the whole game finished. The whole game finished for me.
See,
That's what it was.
that's what's a little weird about this with games is because like there's the ending, like the
Yes.
story, and then there's like
Churro said it best.
gameplay.
They retconned this game. They came out with added DLC ending in 2 of them. Like he said, this is a retcon. They went through, they fixed it.
I mean, they did like add those story endings for the.
Yeah, they had
characters.
DLC planned all along, and then Square Enix is like, nah, like you don't get to do this stuff, and they had to finish it in a novel, right? Because there's the main ending which we got, which honestly is one of the coolest things. So I'm trying to think of how to say this. So I actually think Final Fantasy 15 has one of the stronger endings in the game in the series. So like the night before the big battle, you and the bros are just camping out, and you're having this discussion. You know, the eve prior, it's like, hey, like tomorrow's the day, and they're just having this honest to goodness, earnest conversation with each other, just like you know you would with your friends at a campfire, and that is like just. I don't know, poetic in the way that like when things go down, it's like, hey, you know, this is a 1v1, like I have to do this, like it's my fight and stuff like that. And then the ending is unfortunately Noctis has to sacrifice himself, right? Which is actually leading into the villain winning. Like even though what's his name? Arden loses the fight, he wins the war because he wanted to end that bloodline because
Yeah,
he got
yeah,
fucked
that's
over
true.
in the story, right? And even though Noctis dies, like he still kind of gets that like semi-happy ending or melancholy ending where it transitions to him in the afterlife with what's her name, Luna.
So
And
yeah,
like she rests her head on his arm while he's sitting in the chair, and then it transitions into the logo art, which
Mhm.
no other game has ever done. Like,
We
that's
definitely
like a
talked
holy
about
shit.
that on the
the
podcast
story,
too. I
the
remember.
story was fine. It's just like I
The
remember.
feeling you got, Jim. The
No,
feeling
no,
you
that's
got.
valid.
man.
I'm
doing
just
a
saying,
counter
like,
argument here.
it's like the same thing for me. It's like, okay, so when I'm enjoying a game like that game, I was doing everything. And then after that sequence, I went to finish the game rather than like keep going on and trying to do more things because I just like, okay, I'm done with this. Like MGS5, same thing. I was doing like everything, and then I was like, I'm not fucking doing this. And then it's the same idea for me. It's just kind of ruined that. The ending itself is fine. There's nothing wrong with the story whatsoever. I enjoyed that. You're
No,
right.
no, I
but
mean, if you don't like it, you don't like it. But it just felt to me like you're talking more
Yeah.
about the game itself, right?
I am talking about more at the game. You're
Than the
correct.
ending.
You're correct.
Mhm.
All right, Corey, give me one.
Let's go with Fable. That's the easy one. I
Ooh.
think also.
Let's go in. Yep.
I mean, like for one, there's so many promises. You got Peter Molyneux, whatever.
He's
It's like,
fuck Peter
overtalks
Molyneux.
a game all the time. Go
like
on.
you're gonna plant an acorn and watch that tree grow as the story goes on, and then this, like all this decision, all everything again, like the illusion of choice and illusion of like
Yeah.
all that stuff comes to a point where you're basically, do I kill my sister and become an all-powerful villain, or do I not kill my sister and not? And but you wouldn't even know that that happens if she doesn't even if she doesn't tell you. So it's like, I, yeah, all this comes down to just like this one moment. It's like, oh, what do I do? Okay, I can do this or that, and that's it. And it's
Yeah.
just like, all
Yeah.
right.
It
Plus all
funnels
those
you.
broken promises of
We'll talk about more broken promises.
affecting
funneling.
affecting the world as you
talk-
play.
we'll talk
I
more-
know. I'm just saying, we're easing
Actually,
into
guys,
it.
yeah.
Holding back on that too.
Tony, give me one.
Let me see.
We all know it's coming.
Yeah,
We all know it's coming. We all know it's coming. We know what's here.
So I'm gonna say Fallout 3's
Oh,
pre-patch,
Mm.
pre-DLC
See,
ending.
I was
I
gonna
didn't-
say somebody
I
had to
didn't
say
play it.
pre-patch.
Yeah, I didn't play it until after that, so
Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, just for context here, like I love Fallout before Fallout 3, right? I played it on PC, where it was more of a top-down bird's eye, 2.5.
Yeah,
Right. So when Fallout
asymmetric or whatever.
and it was dead for a while, and Fallout 3 was coming out, and everybody was skeptical. Everybody that was like played the series was super skeptical because like they'd released some weird other games after 2, like Tactics and whatnot, and so people were just like, "Nah, this game's gonna suck. Like they don't know what they're doing." And it turns out 3 comes out, and it's actually pretty good. Like not the best. There's obviously a lot of bugs and rough edges and stuff like that. But the story is pretty good, right? It's like, oh,
Mhm.
you know, like you're a vault dweller and you're trying to find, your dad. And it's just the whole game is just you on this wild mission, through DC ish. Was that it? Yeah.
Yes.
To try to
That
find your
was the
dad,
easy one, yeah.
and it comes to the end where like you finally find him, and there's like what the nuclear
Some sort of
reactor thing, and it's like, oh no, like you got to do it, for me, son, and stuff like that, and you're like, okay, but there's no suit or anything. It's like, yeah, you would definitely die if this happened. It's like, oh, okay, I guess. But then you have one companion who is a mutant.
Meanwhile,
So-
So
Yeah.
now you don't
the-
necessarily have to have him at this point, but most players probably.
Yeah,
do.
So
I
the funny part about that was I had no idea how that ending worked. I had no idea. I bought the game because everybody loved it, and I got
we
into
didn't
it.
even get to fight. Like, why
are
is
you
this
interrupting
bad? Like,
me?
I'm not
Why are you
interrupting.
interrupting me?
I'm
Yeah,
adding to
we're-
this. Before you finished it, I'm like, I bought the game and I skipped all of this. But go
You're
on, go on.
interrupting me. Like,
Oh,
you
you
still
are.
playing
My
the
fault.
same
My
thing.
fault.
And so you have a super mutant with you that literally is immune to nuclear radiation. And it's like, okay, well, why don't you go in there for me and fix it? And I don't have to die, and you're immune. You clearly can't
That's what I did.
die.
Yeah.
And everybody wins. And the NB, I forget the character's name, just goes, no.
Fox or some Fox.
Strong.
Yeah,
Mhm.
something like that.
Strong. I think
Yeah,
it's
strong or something like that. But
Uh-huh.
like anyway, they're like, no, it's your destiny. And I'm like, What are you fucking talking about? You mean it's my destiny to die for no fucking reason? Like, that doesn't make any sense, dude. What are you talking about? Like, it's absolutely asinine. Whereas, like, you just need to walk in there and fiddle with this thing, and everybody gets to live, and everybody gets to have a happy ending. But you're saying you want me, as your friend, to walk in there and die knowingly.
Fox.
Fox,
is
thank you.
his
There
name.
you go. And it's just... Look, what do you... It's so stupid. It's so fucking stupid. And the backlash back in the day was awful, where they had to physically change it.
Jim's, yeah. It's like there was no reason to, yeah. Go ahead, Tony.
Yeah, they had to literally change it for the DLC, which is why I was going to tie into Jim.
There we go. Nope, I'm good. I'm coming back.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Just give me a second.
Now,
Finish it reloading.
I was just saying,
Yeah,
now literally they had to change it for the DLC.
That's what's funny was Buddha told
The
me
whole
that
thing was
story,
because you
I had no
couldn't
idea that was
do
there.
anything after.
No, yeah,
That was
the game
it.
was over.
The game was over.
That's what I
There
heard.
was
That's what I
nothing
heard.
else you could do once that happened.
It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy that because I played the
But
game.
you
I'm like,
don't-
no, dude, go on in there and take care of that. And that's what I told Nick. I told Buddha that, and he's like, I couldn't do that. And I'm like, what are you talking? Because he never played the DLC afterwards. He played the core game.
Right.
So I was like, that's crazy ending that you couldn't do that.
No.
All right. What are you on, Mike?
Yeah, I guess so. Let's see. Oh, I'm gonna go Perfect Dark actually, and this is less about the story, and although
Another.
it's more about the last level. Like honestly, like Skadar, like it's just not a fun level. Invisible, cloaked alien enemies that just sort of rush you. Everything is this brown, ugly color. You can't like find what you're doing. You have to like shoot a crack that is hard to see to like win at the end. It was just not fun after all of that in that game. And like yes, I like I guess the whole like twist of that game that aliens were like a thing, but once you get into the weeds with the aliens, it's sort of not what I want to be playing anymore in Perfect Dark.
Yeah.
And you're like you're on the home world, like, you're fighting them like in their home world. It's weird and like that. So yeah, I'll say Perfect Dark has like a rough ending for me.
All right. I'm gonna follow up. I'm gonna go with Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah,
I
figured
I
to be in
debated
that.
That's mine.
Debated including that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the entire game. I'm playing
talked about it. It's
Yeah,
like,
I'll
I
still
could
repeat
have
it.
beat them all. I could have.
The entire game, I've gotten out of worse situations. The entire game, and when I drew, I took down like 8 of them before they killed me. And like the game lets you keep going until they kill you. They have to kill you. But I'm like, I took them down. I ran into a barn, and nothing's happening. And I'm like, okay, I guess I gotta let them kill me. And then I'm like, I've gotten out way worse than this. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. But I mean, the game itself is phenomenal. But I mean, that ending, I'm
It's
just
a
like,
Halo Reach ending, kind of, where it's like you just gotta keep playing until they kill you. It's like,
yeah, that's really what they were trying to go for. But I'm just like, but I've killed this many before quickly. Like, no problem. I can get out of this. And then you can't. So, but obviously they did part of the story. But I hate when they confine you like that sometimes. When it just takes you're playing a game and you're experiencing it the way you're playing it, and then it's just like, oh, I've done better. Like I've gotten way out of. I've killed a bar full of people, which is like 3 times as many people, and I have to get killed by this. Whatever. So that made my list. But Corey.
Well, this is one that played a bunch of with Kent actually, Jim.
Ooh.
And the reason I kind of forgot about this game, the ending of this game, because we never played, like, because it was just there was no ending again.
Yeah.
It's Rainbow Six Vegas.
Rainbow Six Vegas. Okay. I have a feeling.
The ending is we gotta see this through. See what through? There's nothing after this. Like that's it. That's how it ends.
The ending.
Like, we gotta see this through.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, I guess we're just going back to multiplayer. Still, it's missions.
Yeah.
It's like, what the heck? So
it was a
cliffhangers are terrible.
Yeah. Make a game. Do not make a game with cliffhanger hanger on it. Please don't. Like, you can have a little thread out there, but come on, don't end it like that. All right, Tony, another one.
Mine is actually going to be the OG Final Fantasy VII.
Oh,
I mean, maybe not love. I like that game. I appreciate the game. At the time, I loved that game. But, like, when I saw that ending, I was like, what happened, right? So, like, the whole ending is like, okay, you kill Sephiroth. Holy tries to fight off Meteor to save the planet. Oh, no, Aerith has to boost up the power of Holy. And, oh, no, the Northern Crater is being destroyed. The party needs to escape. They escape in the nick of time. It's like, okay, cool. and then it just kind of like fades to white, and then you see this like, you hear this music, and it goes 500 years later, and you're like, what? Like, okay, and then all of a sudden you see Red 13, who has two little pups or kids or whatever you want to call them, and they're just running, and then they run to the edge of this cliff, overseeing Midgar that is just overrun with like plant life and stuff like that, indicating like, oh, something happened to Midgar, which is, you know, the equivalent of like New York City, right, in the game, and it's like, and then that's it. Like you hear some like babies laughing or something too. Weird. It's like super weird.
It's a weird ending,
but it's just like weird. It's like what happened, like, and people debated this at the time, and I think even until like they said in interviews, like, did Holy kill humans? Because like Holy was supposed to save the planet, and at the time humans were ruining the planet by extracting Mako and stuff like that. Right?
Yeah,
the whole thing was they were eco terrorists. So it's just this stupid ending. You're just like, what the fuck are you talking about, man? Like, and they even said in an interview, like, I think one of them actually said in an interview, like, yeah, everybody died. And this was like, okay. But then they couldn't do that because they're like, oh, this was super popular and a cultural milestone in gaming history, and we can make money off of this. Let's do Advent Children. What are you going to do, a movie, guys? And it's like, how does this fit in? How does this fit in? I don't know.
Never explained. So just enjoy it. That's what they wanted. Just enjoy it. All right, Mike. You don't sound too happy.
Go there yet?
No, I mean, do you have more? I mean, it's up to you. We can all agree together.
Like, I'll put this on there, although it's not really that bad, but I'll say Arkham Knight.
Yeah, I can see it.
That's fair. The Joker stuff is...
Arkham Knight, like, you end that game basically just like playing not that game, like a first person being afraid of Batman as Joker in Batman's mind thing. It's kind of weird. And then the actual story, like, you know,
everybody knew Protocol from the beginning the whole time.
Yeah, and it's funny how many people I'm surprised how many people honestly think like that at the end of Arkham Knight that Batman murder-suicided himself and Alfred. Obviously, he faked his death, but a lot of people didn't get that. But, you know, it is just, you know, it was supposed to feel bittersweet.
Did he?
Especially now that we know that.
Yeah.
What?
I thought you could only get, like, the true ending if you got all the Riddler trophies or something like that. Because if you don't get that ending is, like, shit.
No, I mean, it's the same thing without the whole, you know, scary, like, he's using fear gas Batman thing showing up. But you still would get the sense that that wasn't...
Well, no, I thought it was, like, don't they allude to, like, what's his name? Azrael or Azel or whatever? Like, taking up the mantle?
Azrael? I don't think so.
Okay. I could be wrong. But either way, I agree with you. The ending was shit.
No, it wasn't so fun. And both gameplay-wise and the story was just like, all right. Like, I see why you felt like you had to write, like, this type of ending, but it wasn't that interesting, really. And it was, you know, this weird fake death thing, which has been done a lot since then, over and over with Batman, unfortunately. So, yeah, I'll throw Arkham Knight on there.
All right. We could throw Bioshock Infinite on there as well. But
I thought about that. I forgot so much of it, but I just remember it being bad.
The problem was, like, I put it on my list, but I'm like, I can't tell you the ending because I was so fucking confused when I was watching it live. I don't even know. Like, I know that they went to Rapture and they were talking about multiple universes and how this one guy has to be alive always, and then it was
always a tower or a girl, whatever.
Always a tower and a girl. Yeah, that's all I remember.
Basically, it just means that you were the bad guy.
Yeah,
just a different version.
You were the Comstock. Yeah, you had to die.
Yeah,
you had to die. I just fucking hate it. It was such a... It should not be that confusing.
Shit.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. All right, that's it for me on this. Besides the
next game.
Yeah, besides the big one for me, Tony, Corey, do you have another one you want to throw on here?
Yeah, I'm gonna throw one out there because it is one of my favorite games of all time, and the ending was very disappointing. And that is the original Borderlands. You're playing up to all these. This whole thing is like to get into this vault, and like we're vault hunters, and we wanna like we can't wait to see what this vault thing is, and we get there. And then it's nothing. It's like we don't even get to see the vault. It's a monster and a door that comes out, and you have to fight this monster, and that is it.
Mhm.
because they ran out of money. So
Should have
That's
made the
what we
Sega
got.
game earlier. Should have made the Sega game earlier.
got that Sega money. I
Yeah.
mean, that's what two. I mean, two lived up to
Yeah.
that promise. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, I mean, it's still an amazing
Hey,
game. But damn,
Churro,
they cheaped out on that.
wait, Borderlands ending in general. Churro, Borderlands 2 had a good ending. I liked Borderlands 2.
Borderlands 2 ending was pretty satisfying. I felt
Yeah.
like had a great boss fight, and then you get to kill Jack or watch someone else kill Jack. So
That's right. I enjoyed that quite a bit, that ending. But anyways, all right. Tony, anything
I'm done.
else? All right, so Mass Effect 3. Mass Effect
I
3.
guess that's not-
Yeah, Mass Effect 3 is Corey's got his ending. He likes it. He left it off his list, right?
yep, no, that's
Not
my
on Corey's list. Yeah, so never ever was there a better franchise that destroyed itself with the ending of that game, because merchandising's gone. They tried to make other games from it. It just never had the same momentum after what they did with 3. I feel like it
Just
just
killed the franchise
it.
for over
Yeah.
a decade now. So
yeah. The illusion of choice.
and they
There was
had
never.
to retcon it and they create a new ending for people. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. They had to. They had the 3 choices originally, 3 choices, and that was it. And even in all 3 of them, for me, nothing was satisfying. All 3 of them, you didn't get anything out of it.
Well, so first of all, the whole like, oh, your player character has to die thing. That's you see that coming up a lot here because it just doesn't feel good in games when
No.
basically you're this character and everything you're doing is like, first of all, you
Impossible
reload when you
odds.
die.
Impossible odds.
You
Yeah.
reload when you die all the time. Like you die and then you start over. You're going for some goal and then it's like, oh, you're just gonna die in the end anyway.
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't feel great anyway. But you could write that in a way that's somewhat satisfying. So that's part 1. Part 2 of this is, yeah, every choice that you made through 3 games all gets funneled into one of these 3 options at the end. Pretty lame. And none of them seem like what you wanted. And the other reason why this is terrible is everyone, maybe not everyone, but coming off Mass Effect 2, where your performance based on like what you did in the side mission
would change it. Yeah.
and and they even add this stupid galactic readiness fucking like meter thing.
Yeah,
which
do
no
an
one
app
even
on your
knows how it
phone.
works.
App on
This
your
thing.
phone. Remember that
Have
thing?
on your phone and play the multiplayer, which like no one really wanted to do, although it wasn't that bad.
It was a good game. I like the multiplayer. We had fun with that game.
Sure, but we had to do it to increase our galactic readiness. We all thought we would get a big, Mass Effect 2, like you could have a bad ending if you didn't do anything right, or if you did everything you could, you would get a very good ending. You would earn it. No, you would not. You would not. You would get one of these 3 things and you would like it.
Yeah, and sure, you said it right.
That
Like,
was
easy. You only had one ending to pick to have your ship, and you had to look them up online and say, okay, which ending do I want to see? Because you're like, none of these choices make sense to me. So,
I mean, so the thing that makes this worse, right, is because it was built up over a trilogy of games.
it was a
wasn't
long
like,
build.
Just like one
Yeah, it was a long build.
individual title where
Yep.
it's like, oh, whatever. It's not like the first entry in a series or anything like that. It's like, okay, and it's like a player character that you invested, right? It's not like Batman where it's like, okay, we want Batman to die or whatever like that. It's it's like, hey, this is your Shepard. You play Shepard however you want.
They touted that like crazy.
Right, they touted that as crazy.
Yeah.
But then they built it up so badly coming into the ending, right? Because everybody was wondering, like, how could you possibly work with this many permutations of like choices that you could make throughout, before the third game.
First 2 games.
The first 2 games plus this third one, whatever's going to happen. How could you do it? Like, it seems impossible. It's like, yeah, narrator, like, yeah, it was impossible because they just had to force things. And I remember being so disappointed specifically because, like, I think in Mass Effect 1, or maybe it was 2, like, I went out of my way to save the Arachni, however you pronounce it.
Yeah.
Because I was like, no. These seem like if they were on my side, they'd be a good asset to have, right? And the third one doesn't matter because you find out that the fucking what are the bad human
Cerberus?
Oh,
Cerberus,
yeah.
Cerberus is like, oh yeah, we found we cloned the queen and made an evil one. It's like, so no matter what choice you made there, it doesn't matter because you have to fight Rachni.
They canceled. They didn't just funnel you in 3 endings. They canceled your story.
Yeah, it's just so stupid. And like, at least for me, even a lot of the character endings, like the character relationships, whatever, had pretty unsatisfying like conclusions and stuff like that. A couple of them were really
Yeah.
good, but a couple of them just,
Yeah.
I'm like, why did I
It didn't-
spend so much time with you? Like,
Yeah, they didn't like you. I mean, there's so you did everything. I talked to your talk to your companions, do all the companion side quests, learn their lives, and it didn't matter. It didn't matter.
it didn't matter. And
you know?
like the thing is so narratively disappointing too, because like you do this stupid, and that's the thing is like I don't want to talk about the gameplay specifically. You guys know I hate the gameplay, but like you go through that stupid last sequence. You're like, oh, you're charging the fucking beam up, beam me up to the Reaper headquarters or whatever, and it's like, okay, is there a boss fight? I can't wait to see
Marauder
what happens.
Shields.
Yeah, Marauder Shields. He tried to save
Remember
us.
Marauder Shields?
Yep, remember Marauder
Yeah.
Shields. He tried to save us from ourselves. And it's just like you get beamed up, you talk to this little fucking space ghost kid that is just like, oh yeah, so you have 3 choices. Okay, what are my 3 choices? You can destroy all synthetics, you can merge synthetics and organics, or you can destroy organics?
Wait, no.
Control.
Destroy all.
Yeah, control.
Control the synthetics.
Yeah.
Or whatever. And just like, those all sound bad. And it's like, yeah, and no matter which one you pick, you die. It's like,
Yep.
But why? And who are you? Like, what are you?
Yeah.
Like,
It's just thrown in at the end of the game.
The whole thing about the Reapers was they were these omnipotent beings that you really had no understanding. Like, it's like I even think they say it in the game, right? They're like, oh, they're it's impossible to comprehend what Reapers are really thinking and stuff like that. You're like, okay, that's kind of badass actually. Whatever. They just travel around the galaxy consuming, civilization, stuff like that. And it's like,
yeah.
Even though you talk to one and he's just kind of mustache twirling villain when you talk to him.
Yeah.
Sovereign when you talk to him.
yeah, exactly.
That's right. So, all right. Cool.
No, it was just rough.
But
it was rough. It was rough.
It sucked. It killed the franchise. I'm happy.
Yeah.
It soured me so much. I mean, I do mean to play the, what is it called? The Ultimate whatever. At some point
Legendary
to play
Edition?
through. Legendary Edition. Because
Yeah.
I never played the Citadel DLC because supposedly that's really good, but like I was just so soured on like I tried to replay Mass Effect 3 again when they, did the director's cut ending or something, and I just couldn't play it anymore. I'm like being in the world was just depressing to me. I'm like, ugh, I can't do this right now. So that's how bad that one was.
Yeah. So, all right. That's going to wrap up this episode, folks. I hope you enjoyed it.
We'll do our best.
We're going to do best. Yeah, we'll do best.
In the future,
so,
not
yeah.
next week. In the future.
Yeah, stay tuned. Stay tuned for that. We will follow up with best at some point. But we do appreciate you guys. Once again, we're live on Twitch Tuesday nights. Please join us for these broadcasts. If not, YouTube, subscribe so you get notified when we post. We appreciate it, guys. We will see you next week. We are out.